Hi there, in this video we're going to go over complementary and supplementary angles. Alright, so your objective for today is to identify complementary and supplementary angles and find the missing measure in complementary and supplementary angles. Alright, so let's do this. First, before we can go over complementary and supplementary angles, we need to go over adjacent angles. Okay, so adjacent angles, these are angles that are right next to each other. They share a vertex and a side, okay? So hopefully this sharing a side, you can think of it like they are beside one another. They share the same side. All right, so an example of that would be, here's a set of adjacent angles. I'm going to say this is angle 1 and this is angle 2. If you notice, these two angles, they share this common side and this common vertex. All right, so again, we have angle 1 and angle 2. They share this common side and this common vertex. Both of those angles lie on that same side and they have the same vertex. So this is an example of adjacent angles, angles that are right next to each other. Complementary and supplementary angles are usually adjacent to each other. So let's look at a couple of examples. Complementary angles, these are angles that have a sum of 90 degrees because they form a right angle together. So here is an example of what that looks like. So angle 1, let me get a pen here. So angle 1 and angle 2, they add up to 90 degrees because they are complementary. Okay, and again, the one marker that gives it away is this little box here. All right, if you have the little box there, you can assume that they add up to 90 degrees or that they are complementary. All right, so the sum of angle 1 and angle 2 would be 90 degrees. Over here, it's a little bit different. Okay, these two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, these show supplementary angles. Okay, these are supplementary angles. They have a sum of 90 degrees, not 90 degrees, they have a sum of 180 degrees. All right, so when you add angle 1 and angle 2, they add up to 180 degrees because they lie on the straight line. And a straight line is 180 degrees. All right, so if it has a little corner, right, this little box here, you can think of it like complementary. If it's a straight line, supplementary. So one way to think of it, straight, supplementary, they both begin with an S. You can think of it like the C can easily turn into a 9 for 90 degrees, and the S in supplementary can easily turn into 180 degrees. Another way that you can remember this is that C comes before S in the alphabet, and 90 comes before 180 on a number line. All right, so that's just a couple of little tricks and tips to help you remember complementary and supplementary angles. All right, so let's see a couple of examples. Find x by writing an equation and setting the sum equal to either 90 degrees if complementary or 180 degrees if supplementary. All right, so we know because of this little box here, the corner, right, the little corner, the little box, we know that because of that, these angles are complementary angles. All right, so this angle plus this angle will add up to 90 degrees because they are complementary. Think of it like complementary is kind of like a corner, complementary corner. All right, so we're going to make them equal to 90 degrees. So our first angle is 3x, our second angle is 57, and we're making them equal to 90 degrees because they are complementary angles. All right, so we know how to solve this equation, right? We are going to subtract 57 on both sides. That leaves us with 3x is equal to 33. And then we are going to divide each side by 3, and we get x is equal to 11. Whoops. X is equal to 11 degrees. All right, so now that you know what x is, you could find the value of that angle by just multiplying 3 times x, or 3 times 11, to get 33 degrees. But in this case, the question was just asking you for you to find the value of x, so that's what we did. All right, and number 2, if you notice that this angle and this angle together make up this straight line. Okay, so they form a straight line, so that would be supplementary. Okay, so these two angles would add up to 180 degrees because, again, they form the straight line. So we are going to add both angles together, 125 plus x plus 5, and we're making that equal to 180 degrees. Now, some people like to put the parentheses here to designate the one angle plus the other angle. You actually don't have to do that in this case since it's all addition. So I'm just going to rewrite it without the parentheses, and then I'll start solving. So before we do anything, we are going to combine like terms. We're going to combine 125 plus 5 and get 130. And then we are going to subtract 130 on both sides to get x is equal to 50 degrees. And you can always go back and check. So if you plug in 50 for x, 50 plus 5 is 55. And when you add 125 plus 55, you do end up getting 180 degrees. Okay, so this would be 50 degrees. Sorry, it would be 50 plus 5, so that would be 55. So this would be 55 degrees together, right? 50 plus 5 will get you 55. And then when you add to 125, that's when you get 180. So that's just a quick way to check back and make sure that you have the right answers. All right. Let's go on to the next examples. Number 3 here has two angles with this little box, right? The little corner. That little box means that these angles, they are complementary, which means that the sum of these angles is 90 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to add 40 plus 2x plus 10. I'm going to combine my like terms, so I have 40 plus 10, and I get 50. So I have 50 plus 2x is equal to 90. Now I'm going to solve by subtracting 50 on both sides. We have 2x is equal to 90 minus 50 is 40. Then we're going to divide both sides by 2. And now we have here x is equal to 20. I'm going to just rewrite it on the side here. X is equal to 20 degrees. All right, and then you can go back and check. 2 times 20 plus 10. 2 times 20 is 40 plus 10 is 50. And then 50 plus 40 will get you 90 degrees. All right, so that is for number 3. That's the answer for number 3. X is equal to 20. That whole angle is equal to 50 degrees. All right, in number 4, we have this angle, and together they lie on this straight line, which means that these angles are examples of supplementary angles. So these angles add up to 180 degrees. So we're going to do 105 plus 2x is equal to 180 degrees. We're going to now start solving by subtracting both sides. We're going to subtract 105 on both sides. And then we are left with 2x is equal to 180 minus 105, which gets us 75. And then we're going to divide both sides by 2, and that'll get us x is equal to 37.5. All right, you can go back and check and make sure that together these two angles will add up to 180 degrees. So 2 times 37.5 will get you 75. So the whole angle is 75 degrees. And together, 75 plus 105, they add up to 180 degrees. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video and try to do these last 2 questions on your own. All right, by now you should have paused the video and tried to do these last 2 questions on your own. So now we're going to go over them. So the first set of angles here, you'll notice the little box, and that box means that they are complementary, which means they add up to 90 degrees. All right, so the first angle is 60 degrees, and the second angle is x plus 10. Before we start solving, we are going to combine like terms. So 60 plus 10 is 70, plus x is equal to 90. And then we are going to subtract 70 on both sides, and we get x is equal to 20 degrees. And if you go back and check, 20 plus 10, you end up with 30 degrees. So that angle is 30 degrees plus this other angle, which is 60 degrees. 30 plus 60 does get you 90 degrees. All right, and then number 6, you'll notice that this angle and this angle both form this straight line. So that means that these angles are supplementary. They add up to 180 degrees. All right, so the first angle is 6x plus 15, and the second angle is 141. So let's add these together. We have 15 plus 141. And that gets us 156. All right, and then we are going to subtract 156 on both sides. And we get 6x is equal to 24. And then we are going to divide each side by 6, and we get x is equal to x is equal to 4. All right, so x is equal to 4 degrees, and if we plug that in, right, 6 times 4, this will get us 24 plus 15. When you add 24 plus 15, you get this angle to be 39, and 39 plus 141 does add up to 180 degrees. All right, so hopefully you got both of those questions right. And hopefully now you can identify complementary and supplementary angles and find the missing measures. All right, that's all. Thank you for watching.